Well, hello, and welcome to the Tea with Tea. Today, I'm going to talk about why I, at 29 years old, decided that I wanted to own a firearm. So this is going to be a very personal episode, but also very short because I don't want to get too much into it. I believe in previous episodes I have mentioned something that I went through last November, that caused me a few months later to decide that I wanted to own a firearm to protect myself. And it's crazy because I grew up as someone who did not interact with guns. I'd never even held a gun until I was 22 or 23 was the first time I held a gun, and it was a single barrel shotgun, not a handgun. Before I purchased my firearm, I just have a handgun. I had only held a gun twice in my life, both shotguns, and only fired it twice, fired each of those once. So only fired a gun twice in my life. I was never someone who believed that we needed it. I believed if you were a good person, you wouldn't need to protect yourself. But unfortunately, I last November was sexually assaulted in a gas station randomly in the middle of the night. And don't come for me, but I did not make a report. I didn't do anything about it. I was with someone at the time, and they confronted the person and actually brought them back to my face for them to apologize. And I froze. I learned that day that in fight, flight, or freeze, I'm freeze. I froze. The whole thing, I just froze. I was fine. Mentally, maybe not so much. Physically, I was fine. It was not super aggressive, although it appeared to be going that direction. But I was very lucky with how little actually happened that day. Nonetheless, I was sexually assaulted. And the person I was with actually had a firearm with them. Registered, everything, everything is legal. And just so you all know, my firearm is legal. I went and bought it at a store where they have all my information. It was run through the FBI, all that, everything's legal. So that situation that I went through caused me to want to protect myself even more so. And it's crazy because my whole life, with what I've been through, the way I was raised, pretty much being on my own since I was 9 years old, I learned to protect myself really young. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a violent person. But if I need to defend myself, I absolutely will. I'm not going to just let someone abuse me and not defend myself. That's not who I am. However, I had never been in a situation where I was sexually assaulted. That never happened to me before. And I'm very lucky to say that I made it 29 years until that happened. Because so many people in my life or that I've interacted with, almost every woman I know has been either sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. And it's honestly sickening. But I am very glad to say that it didn't happen for 29 years of my life. And once it did happen, it was not nearly as bad as it could have been. So despite it being a very bad thing that happened to me, I am very grateful it was not worse. And I'm very grateful that despite me realizing that in that specific kind of situation I freeze, that I was able to remove myself from the situation before it escalated. It also taught me that you can't trust everyone at their word. Because that person who was with me that day, for the whole time that I knew them, was like, you never have to worry about getting hurt when you're around me. I have a handgun. If something ever happened, I know how to use it. Pretty much telling me that they were always going to protect me. And they did not. They weren't even aware of what happened when it happened because they were preoccupied with other people that they had just met that day at the gas station. And then even when I tried to tell that person what happened, I'm not sure that they really believed me. But like I said, they confronted the person and brought them back to me to apologize. And I just froze. I literally did not know what to say. And the guy that actually assaulted me was like, what am I apologizing for? Right? It was a very interesting situation. But because I froze, the guy ends up going back in the gas station, and the person I was with gets in the car and is upset with me because I didn't say anything when they brought the person to me. And things started to get heated within me and that person, and I've not spoken to that person since that day. There were other reasons besides just that one that I chose to cut that person off, but this was definitely the biggest one. And so a few months later, after I kind of had time to process what really happened to me, because for a while I was like, it's no big deal, people are great, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here, all the time. And I was not. I'm very lucky that it did not escalate or get worse. And because of that, I started to invalidate what happened to me. And it actually took me confiding in someone else about what happened to me. Despite the severity of it, this was still a negative experience. And I need to stop invalidating that just because other people go through worse things. Other people go through worse things all the time, but that doesn't invalidate what like you go through. Even not as intense as sexual assault, but anything that may affect you negatively in your life, don't invalidate it just because other people go through worse. And this is a lesson that I'm still learning, but even before I stopped invalidating my experience, I decided that I wanted to own my own handgun to protect myself. Because had I had it with me that day, then potentially it never would have happened. I never would have been assaulted. Because most of the time, from personal experience, like having conversations with people, and as well as some of the research I've done, most of the time if you have a firearm, it will deflect people without you even having to use it. Just the fact that you have it makes people less likely to do anything to you. Now, it depends on your environment, of course, because if you're living that life, so to speak, wheeling and dealing, then that's totally different. But for someone average like me, who is just living regular life and happened to be probably in the wrong place at the wrong time, if I had had a handgun that day, then maybe I would have never experienced what I experienced. And so I said to myself, how can I further protect myself? Yes, I'm able to defend myself if I need to. I'm able to remove myself from situations and use my own discernment for the people that I surround myself with. But now realizing that in that specific kind of situation, I'm a freeze type of person, I was like, I need another way to be able to protect myself. And the best way I could do that was to own a handgun. So now I carry it with me everywhere. I don't carry it on me. I haven't felt like I needed to, which thank goodness, but I always have it with me in my car, or at home in my safe, whichever. If it's not in my car, it's at home in my safe. And everyone knows that I'm very transparent about it. I know how to use it. I learned how to use it. I'm well educated and versed in it now. I have this newfound feeling of safety in my life where I actually feel safe. Like I actually feel like I can protect myself. Like if something were to happen, even not related to sexual assault, but something were to happen to someone I love or someone that I'm with, or if I'm in public and something happens where someone is being aggressive or even pulls their own firearm out, then I'm able to defend. I have that ability now, and it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Like I didn't even realize how much comfort it would give me, because like I said, I grew up not interacting with firearms at all. My mother actually did not like firearms. She was completely against them and made them seem like, guns kill people, not people kill people. But in actuality, people kill people. The guns are just what they use. Guns themselves, sitting there by themselves, cannot kill people. So yeah, that's my story on why I now own my own handgun. And anyone out there who has experienced something to any degree of sexual assault, please do not invalidate yourself. And if you feel like you need to protect yourself, regardless of how you were raised or what you believe, learn more about firearms. Be more educated on it, and then decide if that's something that you feel like you can own in order to better protect yourself. And it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But for me, it has given me this blanket of safety over me. And I don't ever see myself actually having to use it, because like I said, just having it tends to deflect people. And I hope to God that I never actually do have to use it. I mean, obviously other than a gun range or something like that, where I go shooting, those kinds of things is different. But hopefully I will never actually have to use it in a tough situation or to defend myself. I have it. It's there if I do need it, but I pray to God that I never do. But the amount of safety that I feel having it is insane. And I want everyone to know that it's okay to change your mind about firearms. I did. For 29 years, I was like, no, I would not be the type of person to own a firearm. And now here I am. And it's given me such a comfort to know that I have the ability to protect myself in a way that I never could before. And like I said, I pray to God I never have to use it, but it's there if I ever do. And I don't put myself in situations like I said, it took 29 years for me to be in a situation where I feel like I would even need a firearm to defend myself, and even within that situation, say I did have one that day, I don't believe I would have used it, but it would have been there to deflect the whole situation. He would have been like, okay, let me not mess with this girl because she does have a firearm and I can use it to defend myself if I need to. But hopefully I will never be in a situation like that again. Hopefully just the fact that I own it will deflect any and all situations that may come across in my life moving forward. And if you've ever thought about owning a firearm, do your research, meet people, go to a gun range and talk to someone about it. Hold one, like an unloaded one, get to know it, familiarize yourself with it, and then decide if this is something that you really don't want or do want. Because women are allowed to own firearms as well. We're allowed to protect ourselves, and you should, especially depending on where you live and the kind of of environment that you're in. Anyways, that's my story. And if any of my listeners have been through anything similar or worse or whatever to what I've been through, I'm here. Reach out to me. I'm been told I'm pretty easy to talk to, and I've been through a lot in my life, even outside of this situation. So feel free to reach out. Anyways, I love you. Love yourself, and let's grow together.